Jones Jr. Now, this is exciting for me. I'm an old-school boxing fan, so this is fantastic. The only man ever to start his boxing career at light middleweight, 154 pounds, and win the heavyweight title. Roy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
You know, doing great. Now, we were going to have you box my man Hogan here.
Right.
But he flunked the physical right at the last minute.
What happened to him?
He's got high blood pressure, it turns out.
That sounds like somebody's a little scared.
You know,
what? No, come on. I was ready, and I taped up and everything, and then the doctor came in and pulled the plug.
Yeah, Hogan, you didn't know you had high blood pressure until today, right?
I didn't.
No, this
until
is
you told me this at 6 o'clock this morning.
This is great. So you're here for the Friday night fights at the Irwin Center.
Yes, I am.
All right, and we got a nice main attraction here.
Well, you got a better co-feature and main attraction than most cards have. You have 4 undefeateds, 2 in the co-main event and 2 in the main event. This rarely happens in boxing. You don't often get guys who are willing to put their fighters on the line. We have the co-main event, which is Yonder Evans and Javier Fortuna. Fortuna is undefeated and Evans is undefeated. Evans is a great southpaw. He had a mind junior lightweight who I think has a lot of great potential in the sport. So that's an undefeated fight. Then you have in the main event, Denis Grachev against Ismail Shalak. Ismail Shalak, I think, is the best light heavyweight since me.
Hey,
to be honest with you, he's got speed and power in both hands. Very explosive. He don't do the showman stuff I did, but he is a great guy to watch. So I think you guys are in for a real treat.
He doesn't have the sizzle of Roy Jones Jr.
Well, he had the sizzle. He just don't have the razzle dazzle.
Okay, all right. He's got the sizzle. Need some razzle dazzle.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna say neat now, but he ain't got the razzle dazzle part. But he does have the sizzle.
Expand on that. They're afraid to lose. I mean, is that kind of? I'm going to flip that around. To be and have the razzle dazzle, you have to be unafraid to lose.
That's exactly right. Just like a clutch player in basketball. People often wonder why I refer to people like Kobe Bryant as the best in basketball. It's not because of what he does night in, night out. Well, it is kind of, but what you have to look at is watch Kobe play. You see Kobe down the stretch take 5 big shots in a row at clutch time and hit 4 of them. I mean, not many guys are willing to even take those shots, let alone take them with confidence that you're going to hit them. See, when I fought, I would do things like put my hand behind my back and then knock the guy out. You know, I wasn't afraid to take that risk. Yeah, the guy could have caught me and knocked me out too, but that's just a chance we're going to take tonight because this is Roy Jones. The fans want to see something different. That's what I gave him.
It's unbelievable. Roy Jones Jr. Joins us in studio. The fighter of the decade in the 90s has beaten, some of the best. Bernard Hopkins, you name it. Roy Jones Jr. has beaten him and won titles in multiple weight classes. Roy, we were talking about your Olympics,
right,
in Seoul, Korea, right, where you dominated your opponent, who was Korean,
Park
Si-hun, and you outpunched him 3-1, dominated him, and they gave him the decision. And you said that did catastrophic things to boxing.
It did, because if you look at boxing now, the integrity of boxing has dropped tremendously since then. Why? Because how can you rob a guy, a 19-year-old kid that dedicated 9 years of his life to this sport? You rob him, and then you don't go back and correct the wrong. You have the robbery on tape. You can go back and count the punches. Nobody that looks at that will say they thought Park Si-hun won the fight. Then why don't you guys correct it? And they didn't correct it. So now you leave your sport in limbo like, wow, really? Is this sport as corrupt as the professional version of it that we already think is corrupt? If the amateur version of it is this corrupt that they can't fix a robbery caught on tape, then what you think about the part where money is involved? So that hurt the game from the root. You understand me? Because the great fighters usually come from the Olympics mostly, or the Olympic trials, but most of the guys have gone through the Olympics that grew up to be great, because the great Olympian winners usually have a great start in professional boxing. I mean, look at Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, George Foreman. All these guys had great Olympic experiences before they turned professional.
Roy, who is the best boxer you ever saw?
Muhammad Ali.
Who's the best boxer you ever fought?
James Toney.
And where do you see yourself in the ranking of all-time boxers?
Well, it's not really important that I rank myself. I think I'm one of the better looking ones. I think I'm pound for pound the best looking one to ever do it. So, I mean, I mean, the rest of it, I don't know. I have to let them speak for. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Only 2 guys ever won the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight championship. Then went back and recaptured the light heavyweight championship. That's telling you a lot. 2 guys did it 106 years apart. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, and that it's amazing.
I got Roy.
And I happen to be the other guy.
Glad I failed that physical. That's all I'm saying. Glad the medical red flag came through for me.
I am too.
What when you look at boxers, you mentioned Kobe Bryant and great athletes. At the top of the level, boxers, where do you rank them as far as the great athletes?
Oh, they got to be some of the best ever because they give and take. Kobe and them, they give, but they don't have to take a whole lot. They take a little more than people think they take, but they don't have to take a lot. See, it's different than taking an elbow or a shoulder to the chest than it's taking a punch to the face. A punch to the face tells you a lot about a man. Even if you look at a lot of these MMA fighters, when they get punched in the face correctly, you see a whole lot of changes happen real quick. They're not used to them punches in the face. You understand me? They do the kicking and the kneeing and the elbowing. A lot of them deal with that, but when you see a good, clean punch to the face, you, just like in hockey, somebody goes down. In boxing, we have to take that repetitively. You understand me? Those guys don't take those too good repetitively.
Okay, when they pay you, we hear a purse is $3 million, $4 million, $5 million. Do they just write you a check right there? Do they pay it in an annuity? How does that work?
Sometimes they write you a check there. Sometimes they write a check to your promotional company, whichever company promotes you. Like if Bob Arum is your promoter, they'll give the check to Bob Arum, then Bob Arum will write you a separate check after he take his cut out.
I was going to say, how close
or he take his cut, then he take the trainer cut, then he take the fees for the titles, then he take everything else out, then he'll send you the check. So the check gets beat up pretty bad before you get it.
All right, and do you have your money?
You have part of your money. You won't have all of it. You can believe that, but you will have some of it.
Okay. And have you been able to maintain your money?
Yeah, you can maintain it. It's kind of tough, but you can maintain it, but it's a tough situation.
Yeah, because when you get paid in those huge sums.
It's hard because there's a lot of things you don't know about, and it's hard to kind of track and keep up with it.
Yeah, and that we see, those 24/7 specials on HBO. You see Mayweather throwing.
Yeah, but see, he just does it. Everybody don't do it that way. The hard part about it is that your mind is focused really on fighting. When you focus on fighting, you want to just have other people that you pay to take care of it, and those people are usually the ones who fail you.
Roy, you said if they asked Roy, if they said, "Come, look, we want to fix boxing, get it back to the top like it used to be," what are the first 3 things you're doing to fix it?
First 3 things I'm doing is cut out all the promoters. We're gonna put this under one umbrella, and we'll start from there. And then the second thing I'm gonna do to fix it is I must interview and talk with all the commentators, because the commentators are who are ruining the sport.
Interesting. Tell me more about that. Who's doing a good job, who's not?
Well, I ain't gonna call no names, but it's like this. When you look at the MMA fight, just like you saw Rashad Evans and John Jones fight last weekend, you don't hear nobody discourage neither guy. They didn't disgrace neither guy. They didn't talk bad about Rashad because he lost. They said, well, maybe Rashad didn't do this and didn't do that, and maybe John Jones was able to do this and do that. So now next time you see Rashad, you don't think he's a dead man. In boxing, he'd have been the most no-good, useless piece of trash you ever seen by the time the end of that 5th round came. You understand me? They'd have cut him down and criticized him so bad that you don't want to see him no more. But the MMA, they don't do that. If they did do that, they'd be looking for another job, because then nobody ain't going to let it happen.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're not going to discredit his athletes. He's going to be able to bring his athletes back as many times as he wants to, because he don't allow his commentators to discredit the work of his athletes. Everybody can't win every time. But in boxing, if you don't win, you're done. They may throw you out in the pasture to die because you're finished. That's what they talk about you.
Roy Jones Jr. joining us. You like doing the commentating?
I love doing the commentating, but if you listen to me, you never hear me tell you about talk about a guy like he can't come back, or he's just done, or he need to be fed to the wolves or whatever. No, this guy is not doing what he needs to do, but maybe he'll go back and regroup and learn from this and come back again. Now, the next time he shows up, people say, well, let's see what he learned. You got a reason to be looking forward to seeing him again.
What a pleasure. Roy Jones Jr.
Thank y'all.
Really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun for us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Hope I answered all your questions.
Oh, you did.
That's my ability.
Absolutely.
What was the hardest punch?
You gotta have some razzle dazzle.
You gotta have some razzle dazzle. A guy named Eddie Evans from Atlanta, Georgia, hit me so hard. I think it was about my 7th fight. Hit me so hard, I'm still mad at him. If I ever see him in the street, I'm probably gonna jump on him again.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're looking for the razzle dazzle, and we had it here.
That's right.
Appreciate it, Roy, so much.
You had the razzle dazzle right up in your studio.
Appreciate it.